modern pigments, okay? You don't have to memorize which is which. Use your eyes. You go into the art supply store and you go to Golden, you can see the paint. You can see right away how transparent or opaque it is. So you know right away that this is going to be modern and this is going to be minimal. Right?
What about mixing them with each other?
You can. You'll just get something in between.
Yeah, you can't do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And Golden stands behind the fact that that basically their products can be mixed. Obviously, they haven't tested everything. In theory, you could mix it with like Liquitex or some other acrylic product, but Golden's not going to stand behind that because they are not going to be testing every little thing.
Yeah.
In theory, you should be able to do it. All right. So we're going to look at this color, and this is the first wet, heavy body that I'm going to show you. And does anyone want to guess what color it is? Time's up.
Mars black.
Nothing? Come on.
I can't see.
Mars black.
No.
Black's a good one. Blue's a good one.
Yeah.
Could be a burgundy, that could be a lot of different things, which is why I say always do a drawdown, especially if you've never used the color before. You buy a new color, put it out, do a drawdown. So, as all of you said, it's purple. The oxine purple. And of course, I'm playing with the light, I'm playing with the distance, you know. I have to have some fun. So always do the drawdown. Because if you're just, how would you mix this purple if you were just looking at the mass tone and black? You know, what would you do? You have to do a drawdown in order for you to see really the intensity. In order for you to really see the intensity of some of these colors. And then you could actually mix that because you would say, okay, maybe I need a little bit more red, maybe I need a little bit more blue. But if you're just going for the mass tone, so first time you get a color, and if you're mixing the color, you know, say you're mixing some flesh color or maybe some green for your landscape or whatever, do a small drawdown. Really look at what it looks like and use the capability of what the paint can do. Because sometimes, you know, I go back and forth. Most of my paints are actually very thinly done, and I build up very modern. They're all based on satellite images and maps. I use the glazing technique of the old masters. Where, do we know what that is? Everyone knows the glazing technique? So what that is basically, you have to have one color that's dry, totally dry, and another color on top of it that's transparent, and you put it on, you get more of an optical mixture rather than a physical mixture. So like this is an example of a pear, it's not an example of one of my paintings. But this is all done in the glazing technique. And for instance, like this, like pale little color, was originally a stroke of pure titanium white. And what glazing is just many layers of transparent paint put on over. So the whole thing was done. What it is, it gets a much more atmospheric thing. It's how the old masters used to work. I always say use it because it doesn't have to look like, even though this is potentially made to sort of look like an old master painting, it doesn't have to look like that. But use that technique. You know, the Impressionists created a very bad habit. I like the Impressionists. I know I'm knocking it, but they're fun to knock because they're everybody's favorite. So, but the Impressionists, you know, they wanted all direct paint right out of the tube. Now, most art supply stores want you to do that. Oh, I'm kidding. But you know, that's like, and that's perfectly fine. But don't lose the power of glazing. Try it. It gives you a nice sense of atmosphere that you can't really get with a lot of other things. I guess I should start talking faster. Okay, so heavy body, designed to retain a brush stroke. So I put a brush through it, and it's going to stay like that. The only time I may poke a little fun at oil painters is because I'll say, like, okay, what if you left your oil paint that thick? What's going to happen? Well, if it ever dries, it's going to crack and fall off. I mean, I know a lot of people do paint thick with oil paint, but it really shouldn't be done that way. You have to be done correctly. That's not to say it's one experiment, but it is the proper way is to actually paint relatively thin, and you build it up. So that is heavy body. And once again, the oxyene purple. And now I'm going to show two yellows, which are kind of in nature, they're sort of just drab colors in mass tone. Oh, you notice what I'm doing? You know why I'm doing that? Keep your tubes clean. All the tapping, all the paint drops off, so you have a nice clean tube. I just recently, these are new. I just recently replaced my 10-year-old tubes that were the size that I used for 10 years, and I never had trouble opening it once. You can do that with the jars, the lids, pretty much. No, you wouldn't do it with the high flow, but. Okay, so we have yellow ochre and nickel azure. Yellow ochre we're pretty familiar with. These two colors are kind of mustard-like, but nickel azure is quite an intense yellow. That's why I always do the drawdown. If you just, there's nothing wrong with the mass tone, but you're definitely going to lose out on some of the intensity of the color if you don't do a drawdown. And use that also, like I said, when you're mixing the color. Okay, so that's the heavy body line. Obviously, there are a ton of colors. Now we're going to compare that, or contrast that, to the fluid. And so I'm going to put out some green gold, do a drawdown. The fluid gets a little bit of a bad rap because poor fluid. Everyone kind of thinks that the fluid, that's the ones that come in containers like this, is the heavy body just thinned down. You don't want to think about it that way because it's wrong. What it is, it has a different viscosity in the same pigment level. So it's designed to basically where people can draw or it can be poured out. Is it running?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And now if I do a drawdown and you bounce your eye back and forth between the two drawdowns, you can see that it's the same pigment level. So why do we care? Why does Golden do this? Well, because we don't all paint alike. I mean, wouldn't it be really kind of boring if we did? Where I said the heavy body is designed to retain brush strokes, the fluid is designed not to. So the fluid you would use if you want to say pour out large vats, or if you don't want to have brush stroke. So you have enough paint and I run a brush through it, and you obviously have enough paint, that brush stroke will disappear for the most part because it has self-leveling agents. Also, as we know, some people like to add water or to get a watercolor effect. So which one are you going to want to use? The one that's thicker or the one that's thinner?
I don't know.
Thank you. I asked it once, someone said, "You pick one?" No, dummy. I thought that, but I didn't say it. Okay. Yeah, you're going to want to use the thinner